You are listening to Black Girl Missing, a podcast that covers stories of Black girls who were reported missing when they were under the age of 18. When Black girls go missing, their cases are severely underreported in mainstream media. We want to shift the narrative. We invite you to listen, learn, and do whatever you can to help us bring as many girls home as possible. You can find us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite platform so that we can keep bringing you the stories of Black girls that need to be told. Due to the sensitive and sometimes graphic nature of these cases, we advise you to use caution when listening.
We open each show reviewing cases of girls who are currently missing that we call the Aisha Alert. We encourage you to pay close attention, check our social media, and help us help the families who are still seeking answers and long for their loved one's safe return. We like to note that we create these lists of currently missing Black girls in real time, so by the time the podcast episodes are released, there may have been changes. We will have information on each case posted on our social media channels so that you can stay updated. Kahi Howard is a 13-year-old girl from Hamilton, New Jersey. Kahi was last seen 6:30 a.m. Thursday, September 24th at her home on the 900 block of William Street by her mother. She had previously gone missing Monday, but was found safe on Tuesday and is now missing again. She's 5'4", 160 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen in a yellow hoodie and frequents Hamilton and Trenton. Anyone with information on her whereabouts can contact Hamilton Police Department Detective Patrick Tamasey at 609-581-4026. Dakota West is a 15-year-old girl from Detroit, Michigan. Dakota was last seen at around 2:30 p.m. on Thursday, September 17th, as she was leaving her home in the 4300 block of Philadelphia Street near I-96 and Dexter Ave. Neighbors reported they saw her getting into a dark green SUV, but she has not returned home since. Anyone who has seen this missing teen or who knows her whereabouts is asked to call the Detroit Police Department's 10th Precinct Investigative Unit at 313-596-1040. Zaniyah White is a 15-year-old girl from Lawrenceville, Pennsylvania. Zaniyah was last seen Monday, September 21st in a black hoodie, blue jeans, and white shoes. She's also known to frequent Sheridan, Northview Heights, and Spring Hill. She's 5'5" with black hair and brown eyes. Anyone with information is asked to call 412-323-7141.
Welcome back to Black Girl Missing. I'm Nikki.
I'm Asa.
And I'm Feminista Jones.
How are we today?
Pretty good-ish.
It's still a pandemic outside.
Yeah.
That's where the ish comes in. Good-ish.
Yeah.
I think some people have forgotten that we're still in the middle of a global pandemic. So I just felt like maybe we should just remind people.
Wear your mask.
It's a pandemic outside, y'all.
At the time of this recording, the pandemic was still happening. COVID
and numbers are actually rising.
Yeah, no, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and we're in the United States. We have the worst death count in the world.
And healthcare system.
So I just want to send a shout out and love to everybody that has been affected by this, and all the people that have survived and recovered, and all the people that have lost loved ones. We're not making light of this. Like, we're very serious. It is actually vexing us that there are people who are acting like this is nothing. And I think about the missing girls. I think about all the missing people who may be exposed to this against their will. So, just sending love and solidarity to all the folks that are dealing with this.
Indeed.
Absolutely. And even the people who've lost their jobs. A lot of security is gone. People are losing their houses. People are losing their roof over their head, their cars, their money, everything.
It's so much.
It's
so much. And it's just so overwhelming. And we want to know that we hear you. We are there with you. And some of us are just pushing through. This is a reprieve for me. I get to talk with my friends, and we get to talk about something that we love. So we're going to just keep giving this to you because maybe it's a reprieve for you too. So
for sure,
let's get into it.
All right. 16-year-old Shemika Cosey was an ordinary teenager. She was a sophomore at Hazelwood West High School with a big bright smile, and she babysat her 8-month-old sister every afternoon so her mother, Paula Cosey Hill, could go to work. The night of Sunday, December 28th, 2008, was the last time that Shemika Cosey's family saw her. Shemika's cousin picked her up in Hazelwood, just west of Florissant, Missouri, to take her to Berkeley for a sleepover. And that evening, she walked outside several times as something or someone had her attention. Around 1:30 in the morning, Shemika went outside with her coat and her purse, but she never returned. The next morning, when her cousin woke up, Shemika's overnight bag was still on the counter and Shemika was nowhere to be found. The front door was unlocked. That is important because Black folks don't leave their doors unlocked when they go to bed.
Wait, you said this was in Florissant? This is
The Ferguson area.
Ferguson area, right? Missouri.
Yes. Just west.
Is that considered Midwest? Because I know a lot of Southern folks don't lock their doors too.
That area, I would personally, it's geographically it's the Midwest, but those are country folks.
Yeah, so I'm
And
wondering.
being that this was an area that it was suburban, but predominantly it had urban people,
Okay.
but it was a suburban area.
Okay. They
It's
probably
not
lock their
really,
doors. Yeah.
it's not a place you're gonna leave
Okay.
your doors unlocked
Got it.
in. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
And the assumption that Paula Cosey Hill, Shemika's mother, had was that Shemika intended to return, and that's why she left the door unlocked.
Okay.
She left the door unlocked so that she would be able to get back in the house without waking anyone. And because teenagers don't always make the best decisions, they are often treated with less care by agencies of authority when they may be in trouble. And this point was amplified when the teenager is a brown-skinned Black girl. Paula went straight to police once she was notified that Shemika was missing, but police never searched for Shemika. Let me run that back.
Oh God, here we go again.
Miss Paula, every time, Miss Paula went straight to the police once her niece told her that Shemika left the house and never came back. And the police never searched for her. They labeled her a runaway and then left her family reeling with grief. And this has been the most infuriating part of this entire story to me because they literally did not search at all.
Nope.
They didn't even try. So to police, it suggested that Shemika left by her own volition because there was no signs of foul play, no evidence of any struggle. Nothing was out of order. There was nothing that was in disarray. So it just seemed like she just got up and walked away. But again, she's 16.
Where's she going?
Right.
And this is December 28th. So it's a couple days after Christmas.
It's cold.
And it's cold outside. And Shemika had just turned 16. Her birthday is actually coming up. It's October 1st. So she had just turned 16. And so, I mean, to say, oh, your 16-year-old ran away. Oh, well, she ran away. Bye. Like, that is nuts to me.
Right.
I don't understand them feeling comfortable with that decision, but apparently that's procedure. And I'm really bothered by it.
Right.
So it was up to Paula to investigate on her own. And she stumbled upon quite a few clues, but many just seemed to be dead ends. Now, Shemika's cousin said that she made a phone call the night she disappeared, and Paula called the number back that was in the phone call log, and a woman answered the phone and stated that she told Shemika she had the wrong number, but that seemed odd to Shemika's family based on what the number was and how long the call lasted.
Because the wrong number is usually what, like 10 seconds?
Oh,
Yeah,
hey,
20
you got the
seconds.
wrong number. Have a
That's
good night.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, right. 7 seconds and you're done. So Shemika was not supposed to be dating, but she did have a young man at school that she took a liking to. His name was Jeremy. And it was unclear whether or not Shemika was dating Jeremy when she went missing, but he did go to the police station to discuss her character. Now, Jeremy told police that Shemika sometimes went to a strip club in East St. Louis. Let me let that breathe. A girl who's just turning 16 is going to now. Let me just East St. Louis, Illinois, is just across the Mississippi River from St. Louis.
Yes,
Now
I've
they
been
live
there.
in they live in Hazelwood. Hazelwood is on the west side, and it's a west side suburb of St. Louis. So you have to go all the way through the city of St. Louis, across the river to get to East St. Louis, Illinois. East St. Louis is a rough place. I don't go to East St. Louis because it's rough. For you to tell me a 16-year-old is going there, something is happening that her mother was unaware of.
Right.
So Miss Paula was confused about how and when this was even possible because she considered herself a strict parent. I mean, Shemika was watching her baby sister every day after school. Like, when are you going to all the way to East St. Louis? So Miss Paula searched Shamika's room for any clues of where Shemika might be or what she might have been into prior to her disappearance because, again, the police are not helping her. She found an ID card belonging to the older sister of one of Shamika's friends. And she resembled her daughter enough that Miss Paula deduced that Shemika was probably using this ID to get into clubs.
Okay.
Got it. I mean, she's a
Teenager.
teenager.
Right.
So I want to kind of crack into that a little bit. People often hear of things that teenagers do and immediately write them off as irresponsible and you deserve what you get. No. No. You're a kid. You're a child. You're a teenager, and your prefrontal cortex is not all the way developed.
Brain ain't fully
Not even
formed.
close.
Nope.
And you're not thinking like an adult, even if you're making a decision that may seem like an adult decision. And we're not here to make it seem like, well, she got herself into trouble. That's not where we're coming from. But it is important to point out that she could potentially have been in a situation that was not safe. And now, if you're in a situation that's not safe because you're 16, you don't know how to get yourself out of that.
Right.
And there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. It might be, shame or fear of, well, now I can't tell my mom, and now I got to just go all the way with this. Or you got your friends or the people that are around you saying, this is what you got to do. And now they're giving you really bad advice also because they're too are teenagers. And it's everybody involved is making the wrong decisions because they just don't know better.
And that hive mind ain't really doing what it needs to do.
Right.
It's not doing the right thing. Like, this is the worst think tank ever.
And it's so funny.
I'm just thinking about the times I was 16, all the stupid things that we've done. God.
And it's so funny. Like, adults will talk about teenagers, kids, and will say they ain't know no better. But as soon as something bad happens to them, it's, well, they should have known better.
That's what they get. Right.
So which is it?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to Black girls, though, because like we 16, but people treat us like we supposed to be 25, and we supposed to know everything.
They already hypersexualize us. There's an adultification that comes along with being a Black girl. And she wasn't. She was brown skin, so she wasn't light skin. And she was a little bit. She wasn't heavy, but she was a curvier. She was a curvier girl. She was 5'5", about 160 pounds. Which that's a body type where somebody might look at her and think that she is older than what she is.
She's a little thick set. That's what the country folks say. She's a little thick set.
Right. Like, oh, she's thick. Okay, so she's probably
you little thick set.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So
I can't put the ham hocks down, Grandma. I'm sorry.
Right.
Jeez.
So there's a lot of things that are happening here that the media doesn't discuss, police don't discuss, because they don't see us. They don't see us. So they don't see the things that we go through, the things people say about us, and they don't care. They just think, okay, well, she walked off, so she's off on her own, and we're not going to go look for her. So Miss Paula heard rumors that her daughter had been dating men who were older than her, which could be 18, it could be 20, it could be 25. We don't know. Right. We just know that they were older than 16. And she had actually seen her daughter getting into a black Chrysler 300 with tinted windows with an unidentified person. And when she asked Shemika who that car belonged to and who is that, Shemika just said that it was a friend from school who was in their parents' car. Again, she's 16. 16-year-olds lie to their parents all the
All the
time.
time.
I just gotta
Woo.
slide in real quick because when I was 16, I was dealing with a man that was 24. He knew better. I thought I was grown. He had a Honda Accord. At the time, that was the car for the dudes to have. And he had a little S curl because back in the day,
Oh
S
God.
curls were it. And he had this way. He had a job. Like, you know what I mean? And
Mhm.
he
Right.
should not have been dealing with me. I should not have been dealing with him. I see it now for what it is. I'm 41. I'm looking back. But you think I told my parents?
Mm-mm.
No.
Like I was in boarding school sneaking home on the weekend to see him, and my parents had no idea I was in the same city.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I would be the one that they would call and say was fast, but again, at 16, I can look at it back now and be like, God, you were so stupid. But I could also look at the points that led me to that,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Right.
struggles that I was having, come just trauma and stuff that I was dealing with that made me seek this person out and want to be a part of something that was bigger than me and older than me. And I
Mm-hmm.
Right.
thought that, me being in boarding school and being smarter than a lot of folks, I was like, well, I don't want no boy my age. I need an older guy or whatever. And not thinking
Mhm.
of him as a predator, just thinking I was
Mm-hmm.
special because he was paying attention to me. And that's
Right.
where
Right.
my mind was at 16 years old. And it
Right.
happens a lot. And I also want to throw in the fact that I remember reading this statistic that for teen black girls that get pregnant, ages 15 to 17, at least 40% of the people they get pregnant by are over the age of 21. And of
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
those, 25% are over the age of 25. So this predatory engagement is a really big issue in our communities. Okay. And yet we always blame the girls.
Right.
Right. So I just wanted to just throw that out there for folks who didn't realize that. All right. I'm sorry, Nikki. Keep going. I
So
felt, the spirit came
I
and
feel
said,
you.
When the
I
spirit
got to
moves you.
testify. I got to testify because I've been there and I know exactly what that is.
So when Paula sees this car in front of her apartment building and she sees her daughter in this car, she's running to rush to go outside to see who's in this car. It's not like she's looking at it and ignoring it. She is an active and engaged parent. And so she's looking and she runs outside and they pull off before she gets a chance to run up to the car. Now, that says a lot about what was happening there. You
Mm-hmm.
were not supposed to be in that car.
Yep.
And you know you're not supposed to be in that car because as soon as your mama started walking up to the car, y'all pull off. That's some shady behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
means that whoever was in that car, that they're either not supposed to be in that car or you're not supposed to be with whoever that person is. So once she started hearing these rumors about her daughter, it was after she disappeared. So she was upset because she's thinking to herself, where the hell was this information before my baby went missing?
Right.
Because I could have intervened
Right.
had
Right.
I known all of this stuff. People were keeping this stuff from me. So Shemika had befriended her neighbors who lived downstairs from her apartment. They were teenage girls. And after investigating the rumors about Shemika going to East St. Louis, it was found that these friends were likely the people that she was going to these clubs with
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
because one of the girls is the sister of the person whose ID that Shamika had been using. So that's how that whole thing tied in. So when she went missing, Paula actually asked these girls for help and they legit said no. They refused to help her. They said that they didn't want to get involved. So Miss Paula went to their parents and said, "Well, hey, my kid used to hang out with your kid before she went missing." And their parents said, "Yeah, I don't want my child involved in that." So Miss Paula has struggled with the blatant refusal to help her find Shamika, and I cannot imagine how that must feel.
Oh my good. Yeah. Oh.
That's yeah.
I can't like I would want to just fight
It would.
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if
So
it was your child? You would
right.
want
Right.
me to help.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody thinks it's ever going to be
Be there.
them.
Exactly.
Right. And I think there's a lot of times where parents don't want to face the fact that their teenagers are being teenagers,
Yeah.
and that's your kid.
Yep.
Mine don't do that.
Right. And it's not my baby, not my
Mm-hmm.
baby. My baby doesn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So while Paula was actually moving homes from one apartment to the next, she was carefully combing through Shamika's belongings and stumbled upon some notebooks that contained notes that she had been passing back and forth with a friend in school. The notes suggest that both girls were pregnant. Now, this seemed odd to Miss Paula at first because she was new at Hazelwood West. She hadn't been at this was her first school year at this school, but when you're a teenager, you really do try to find community wherever you can find it.
Right.
So it's easy to like latch onto a girl who looks like she might be going through what you're going through. So whoever this girl was, there was no names on the notes because that's girl code. You don't put names on the notes. You just pass the doggone note. You don't tell anybody who you're sending it to. So she actually reached out and said, I don't know what girl was writing these notes, but can you please contact me? Because I think that you might know something about my daughter's disappearance. But whoever it was never came forward.
Oh, man.
Oh.
And I like that had to be just gut wrenching. So she's got these notes, and whoever this other person is, they think that they're pregnant. Shemika thinks she's pregnant. And Shemika made it clear in these notes because she knew Shemika's handwriting. She said, well, the ones that Shemika's writing, she's talking about having this secret boyfriend and not wanting him to have any power over her. That was interesting too, because I'm thinking, is this an older guy who's going to try to control you because he got you pregnant and he's grown and you're not? And, you know, that can be a very delicate time in anybody's life, no matter what age you are.
Yeah.
Because you're pregnant, you got a lot of hormones popping off and a lot of things happening.
Especially so when as a teenager.
Exactly. So when you're young and impressionable like that, and you're in a negative situation, you don't know what to do. Now, I think it's also important to note that Shemika's mother was a young mom.
Okay.
When she had Shemika, if I did the math correctly, she was approximately 19 or 20 years old. And Shemika has an older sister, which means her mom was also a teen parent. Well, when you are a teen parent, you don't want your teenagers to have babies.
Yeah.
Because you know that they're high risk to be a statistic. It's, what is it, like half of all teen parents, their children are teen parents or something like that. So I'm pretty sure she fancied herself a strict parent. And if you're a strict parent and you're also a young parent, that means you don't want your kids to do whatever it was that you did. I get it. I completely understand that.
Yeah, and then the teen moms tend to be over protect. So that's another thing. Yeah, so we got to throw this in here too. There's been a lot of study. There's been a lot of studies about teen parents being more abusive towards children and physically, abusive and things like that. Because again, the brains, they don't know no better,
right?
Without the adequate support. But if it's been generations of it, right, then they're just passing down. So her strictness may have come from her trying to prove herself as a teen parent to others, being like, I got this. I got this. Don't worry about it. Which comes in the form of extra punishment.
But also, let's not forget, Shemika has a lot of responsibility because she has to come home from school every day and take care of an infant.
Which is like, I wonder about that. Yeah. Like, I gotta, I raised my eyebrow when you said that because, a 16-year-old in charge of an 8-month, of course, it's not unheard of, but a child under 1, I don't think should be in the care, for a long period of time with a teenager.
And she was 8 months old at the time that Shemika went missing. 8 months old, that's a little baby.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if the social services found out about it, it would be a huge problem.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, I had small siblings when I was a teenager. And I really never took care of them alone more than maybe like a couple hours at a time. And that was like my mom is doing laundry. So she's not even out of the house. She went to take a shower without a toddler on her hip. So I get it. But being 16 years old and having young siblings, or being 15, being 17 with young siblings, I know that's a lot. It's a lot. Because as soon as they start kirking out, they crying, they whining, they want something, it's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm a kid.
Somewhere.
Because I'm a kid and I don't know what to do with you. And I'm just kind of like, oh my God, however can I get you to stop crying? And it's, but my mom is in the house, so she's coming, or my dad is in the house, so he's coming. So Miss Paul's going to work. So she's leaving her alone with this baby. And it's not unusual for her to say, you know what? I don't want that responsibility anymore. I'm out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would not be unreasonable. People do that all the time. Adults do that. They say, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? I don't like this responsibility. I'm not interested in this. And
I'm
this
stressed
shouldn't
out.
be my problem. I'm stressed out. I don't like it. I'm gone.
And if she's pregnant herself,
I
Mm-hmm.
really don't
this
want to
Don't
is
deal
want
with
really
this.
this.
like
Yeah.
I can't deal with this right now. I can't.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. So she's going through these notes, going through these boxes and things in Shemika's room, finds this note, finds out that the situation might be a little bit more dire than she initially was thinking. It might be more than just running off with a boy. She might be with child. And she might, be pregnant by somebody that she wants to get away from. By her saying she didn't want the man or the guy to feel like he had power over her. So Miss Paula believes that her daughter may have been groomed and lured away by somebody older than her, and she does fear for her survival, but she believes wholeheartedly that she is still alive and that she may be in the East St. Louis area. She has spent the last decade dedicating her life to finding her daughter and raising awareness for all missing people. And she is very active on Facebook, actually. There's a Facebook group called Searching for Shemika. And every day she posts something about missing people or trafficking and things like that. And Berkeley Police Department received a tip as recently as the summer of 2019. And they say that they follow up on all tips, but have yet to catch anything that leads them to an actual concrete lead.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, Shamika is presumed to be alive. So if you know anything about her disappearance or her whereabouts, please contact the Berkeley Police Department at 314-524-3311 or the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST.
Wow.
Ooh.
Thank you for
Thank you,
that.
Nick.
Wow.
You're
That's a
welcome.
story.
I'm concerned about the part of the story that makes it seem as though there was foul play, like this thing about her being lured away. There's so many moving parts to that, and it's been what 11 years. It's been 11 years.
I honestly, like, my take on it, that girl left. In my opinion, I think she may have run away with a guy
Could be.
and to start a new life, and maybe, young and whatever, convinced
Hmm.
that, you know, she can make it, she could do it. I don't know. I mean, she could have. Like, if she's presumed to be alive, then I think that she might not even be there. She might be in another city. Maybe they went to Atlanta.
And she went
Mm-hmm.
and she's living
Yeah,
her
living
own
her
life,
Maybe
life.
doing
living her
whatever she wants to
life
Yeah.
do.
with a baby,
Like,
probably.
And
yeah.
I think it's important for people to know that when you are groomed or when you are lured away by somebody and they've been grooming you and they get in your head, it seems absurd to think a person can be essentially brainwashed. But it's real.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who are groomed and they're groomed from an early age.
Yes, yes.
And you know what comes into my mind is the documentary series, Surviving R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah,
what I just thought about.
When they're
yeah.
not chasing, but trying to get a hold of these girls that he has groomed, and they're like, well, not wanting to leave, or they're hiding from their parents, even though they do want to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they have since returned back home, but it took a lot for their moms to convince them to come back because they were that far gone.
And a part of it was he was denying them food and regular sustenance
Right.
too, which
And
Mm-hmm.
alters your brain. Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you are malnutrition, if you are
Mm-hmm.
lacking in protein, if you're lacking in
Mm-hmm.
vitamins, it affects your
Mm-hmm.
ability to think.
That's what
It
Mm-hmm.
cult leaders
affects
do. Yeah.
Yep.
it. Yes, that's why so many cult leaders,
They go on vegan
people.
Mm-hmm. diets and
Yes,
things like that.
I was going right
Yeah.
there. They
we
put you
here. We
they
here.
Mm-hmm.
they they put you on a vegan diet. It is protein deficient.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no beans. Here, eat these,
Carrots and
eat these
Mhm. They
carrots.
say
Yeah.
yeah.
purity makes you
Yeah.
closer to whatever, and you do
Mm-hmm.
have mind
Yeah.
alteration. You
Right.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your mind does become more susceptible to programming.
And if you take malnutrition and you fuse that with your environment and your also your own mental health. You might have an existing mental health issue and not know it. You could be undiagnosed, or you could be diagnosed and not getting your medication. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, a lot of things that can happen that people aren't considering because they don't know to consider that.
Yes. And I think
And
like that not knowing to consider that is also accompanies not caring to consider that when it
yeah,
comes to Black girls.
it's I don't have to know and I don't have to care because it doesn't affect me because I'm not in that population of people.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you are, I mean, even Black men, like a Black man might say, well, she's fast, so she's out here in these streets and she's doing what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you don't have to think about that because you would not be the vulnerable party here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to consider that. But if it was your daughter, you would pretend like you're in an episode of Taken.
Hello.
Yeah. And I just want to point out that young Black boys are also trafficked.
Mm-hmm.
40% of minors that are trafficked are for domestic and sexual slavery are Black. And the boys are also involved in that. So, folks need to get hip to that
Right.
too.
And
And
to
they're
and to
also
piggyback on
groomed and um sexually assaulted as by older folks. Like
And to add to that, it's not even just for them to be subservient in the way you would think. Some of them are being groomed to be like Romeo pimps
mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
because it's easy to do that.
Can you tell
It's
people what a Romeo pimp is?
a Romeo pimp is he's cute, super cute, charming, nice, alluring. It's like, "Oh, I could be his girl." We're going to give him piles of money. We're going to get him a nice car, put him in some nice clothes, and go get you a girl. Go get a girl. And some pretty girl is going to go, dang, he's fine. I want to be his woman. Well, now you're bait.
Mm-hmm.
And he pulls you in and you're dating. And this is going to depend on the scenario. Every scenario is going to be a little bit different. But generally, a lot of Romeo pimps work just like this. They are quote dating you. They're taking you out, introducing you to their boys. It's never about a familial connection. It's always about a business transaction. Oh, you're gonna, run errands with me, go hang out, you know what I'm saying? I want to meet you, want you to meet my boys. And before you know it, he done got you drunk, he done got you high. There's a lot of opportunity to get these girls to do something they wouldn't normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And record it
Yeah.
for
You ain't gonna do
evidence.
this for me. You ain't gonna do this for me. Do this for me. And it's like, well, he's fine. He got all this money in this nice car, and I want to keep this in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if I just tried it, I trust him. I like him. And they do whatever they have to do and whatever they have to say. You want those red bottoms? Let me get you those, shawty.
Mm-hmm.
Now you
Mm-hmm.
got red bottoms. He might have gave you a cute little 300 Mercedes to drive around in, but you best believe it got low jack on it. He always knows where you are. He gave you a brand new iPhone. It's because it's bugged and he knows exactly where you are and exactly who you talking to. He sent you shopping. Trust me, there's somebody following you around that mall that knows every single move you making.
Okay.
And it's and they as they groom these boys to be like this, and that's where, well, now they think this is normal, this is okay, I have the things that I need, I got all this money, I got girls everywhere, all I got to do is listen to what the big man says.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think,
And it's such a complicated web, and I mean that's really
mm-hmm.
just one scenario, but
Yeah.
it's such a complicated web.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we do a disservice when we talk about sex trafficking in the same way we talk about rape, in like this person jumping out of the bushes type of thing. When
Yes.
a lot of times when it comes to these trafficking situations, it's because that person has ingratiated themselves to this level of trust. So now your defenses are down. So now it is easier for them to get you into situations where you get taken.
Or you've inadvertently turned a couple tricks and didn't realize
Realize
it
it. Mm-hmm.
until it's too late.
Yep.
And now it's like,
Like,
no, you're in it. You're in
right.
it.
You can't
And
go
you can
back.
say, no, I'm not. This is not me. This is not what I'm doing. And it's too late. And now you're far away from home or you don't have any resources
Mm-hmm.
and you're stuck.
I'm
Yep.
also thinking about the young men when you're talking about recruiting, how
Mm-hmm.
they're groomed to be recruiters, right? And thinking
Yep.
that I get to work, as an apprentice to this person, this big time dude who's got all the money and the cars and the girls, and he wants
Mm-hmm.
me to kind of work with him. And so your job is to lure those girls in,
Mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing. And the more girls you get, the more money you get, or the more
Mm-hmm.
sneakers you get, and things like that. I mean, there's so
Mm-hmm.
much that goes on, and
Right.
it's just all a function of a lot of the same struggles that we have in many of our communities and in some of our families, and things like that. A lot of trauma, a lot of displaced children. Like, we talk about children, these girls being dismissed as runaways, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't, that should never happen. But a lot of times they are running away,
Mm-hmm.
and they're running
Yeah.
away from things that, you know, when children flee, right, there's something wrong, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
exaggerated or not.
Not.
For them, there's something wrong, and we have
Mm-hmm.
to think about that. So,
Yeah.
you know I think that, as we go forward, and as we think about these things, particularly with Black youth going missing, and things like that, we have to consider the conditions that they're in before they go missing, and
Mm-hmm.
why they may run away, and how we can prevent some of this by addressing some of those issues.
Absolutely. I randomly just thought, because when I was a teenager, I lived a very different life, and I spent a lot of time in trap houses. And I'll never forget learning what corner boys really do.
Mm.
Some of the corner boys are literally just a car service. Go pick that girl up and bring her to, whatever place. Not realizing he might literally be trafficking and not know
Mm-hmm.
this is a kidnapped girl, or she's a runaway, or she's so strung out because somebody gave her opiates that she doesn't even know where she is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or, here, make sure you get her a drink, get her, let her sit down and take a drink, not realizing that there's, really promethazine in her vodka cranberry. And I'm going to give her 4 of them. And now she's high off her ass and doesn't really know up from down. And I mean, just like seeing that stuff up close, and then also working in shelters with people who are affected by the same type of things, it makes me approach this entire subject very differently,
Mm-hmm.
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 because I've seen it up close, like what
Yeah.
it looks like. I mean, even girls that are stuck
Mm-hmm.
recruiting and grooming under the guise of like sisterhood, or under the guise of I'm gonna take care of you, or we're bosses, or we don't need these men, not knowing she's really functioning in his place anyway.
Right. I think,
It's so much.
yeah. I think one thing for our listeners to remember and really understand is it's going to get uncomfortable, and
Yeah,
our reality is uncomfortable, and to be able to change that and make change and go in the right direction, you're going to have to be uncomfortable.
That's real.
absolutely.
That's real. All right.
Well, this
That's
has
another
been
one.
real,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I hope everybody has a good week, and we'll see you
Yeah.
next time.
We'll see you next
Bye.
time.
Black Girl Missing podcast is researched, written, and produced by 3 concerned Black women who want justice for missing Black girls. Today's episode was written and produced by Nikki Irene, and the Black Girl Missing theme was produced by Siraj Khalif. Be sure to follow us on social media. On Twitter, we're at Black Girl Missing, BLK Girl Missing. On Facebook, we're at Black Girl Missing Pod. On Instagram, we are at Black Girl Missing Podcast. Visit our website for more information about each case, blackgirlmissingpod.com. Contact us on social media or email us at blackgirlmissingpodcast@gmail.com with any tips, feedback, or names of girls you want us to look into.